Welcome to Boots on the Ground podcast, the podcast where we break down Infor Cloud Suite Industrial and how it's powering manufacturing companies. In every episode, we will explore how ERP transforms operations, streamline production, and drives real results in the manufacturing world. Whether you're running a plant, leading IT, or just trying to make sense of digital transformation, this is where tech meets torque. Let's get into it. Good morning, listeners. I'm Robin Moratti.
And I'm Brandon Toma, and we are your hosts of Boots on the Ground podcast. For this week's episode, we'll be talking about Infor's Velocity Suite.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one, Brandon. There's been a lot of buzz in the ERP world about some of the things Infor's doing, especially around the Infor Velocity Suite type things. I think it's kind of the tip of the spear type stuff. So I'm expecting this episode to be a real good one. We have a very special guest on today for our very first episode, David Trout, president of SolutionsX, also our boss. But hey, we will always want him to be on the show. He's just lucky enough to get the first episode. But we're really looking forward to spreading his knowledge. He's got a lot of knowledge, especially when it comes to not just Infor and Cloud Suite Industrial, but he's also got a lot of knowledge in the manufacturing space too, being all of his years of experience. So we're very much looking forward to that. But hey, before we get to that, Brandon, how was your holiday weekend?
Oh man, it was good. It's good to take a little time away from work. Spend a nice holiday weekend at home with the boys. I know, living in Tennessee, we were just a ton of parks, state parks and stuff like that. So we've just been trying to get out there and explore them all. A lot of like creeks and streams and rivers and stuff like that. The boys just love throwing on their water shoes and just stomping. So we've been hitting up everything local and just going nuts. So it's a little too cold to hit up any of the pools yet. We don't have a pool ourselves, but so with the weather being what it was, we've just been getting out there in nature and trying to get after it. But yeah, two young boys. I know you're a boy dad yourself. So yeah, just been getting out there in nature, trying to burn off some energy. What about you guys?
Yeah, no, fighting the same battles. When you have two young boys, it's kind of like a war in my house. So if we're not outside doing something, forget about it. Like I got my youngest doing a Stone Cold Steve Austin on my oldest. You just can't, like, we have to be outside. We have to be doing things. So but yeah, just being here in southern New Jersey, our weather was not great this weekend. So we tried to make the best of it. It was cold. I mean, it was sunny, but cold, windy. Living at the beach, there's always a breeze, but it was a little bit more than a breeze this weekend. So like you said, didn't really get out on the boat yet. The pools are still a little cold, but no, it was a good weekend. Had a lot of fun, ate a lot of good food, did a lot of good barbecuing.
Oh yeah.
Had people over, we redid the backyard. So now it's like an entertainment spot. So we're always entertaining people. May have indulged in some alcoholic beverages, but that's neither here nor there. It's, just comes with the territory of holiday weekends.
You got it, man. Look, I live in the bourbon capital of the world, so I understand you there.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, likewise. So, man, how exciting is this, right? That it's been a long time coming. We're finally launching our podcast. I think this has been in the works now for a year, maybe a year and a half. This has been in the works.
We've been talking about it since I joined a little over a year ago, and I don't know how long you've been talking about it since before I got here. So I'm excited. This is something that I'm excited for. I love this. It's good to finally be here in the seat, in the meeting. I love this.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. So to give our listeners a little context on who we are and what we're going to be talking about, things like that. So I'm Rob. So I'm a senior account manager here at SolutionsX. Brandon, he's our customer success manager here at SolutionsX. And if you're wondering, who's SolutionsX? What do they do? We are a gold channel partner of Infor. We are the recipient in 2022 and 2024, being the growth partner of the year. So we have been selling and implementing Infor Cloud Suite Industrial since 2004. And our team is made up here of professionals who have once actually been on your side of the table, or in this case, this other side of the screen. So whether it's shop floor or executive management or operations, IT, et cetera, we bring a wealth of knowledge and best practices to the manufacturing world and to all of our customers. And Brandon, funny fact, I was actually speaking with Joey another employee here at SolutionsX, and he's going to be a future guest on the episode. So I don't want to give away too much of the fun things coming down the funnel. But we were just talking about the years of experience here at SolutionsX and the wealth of knowledge that we have. And if you had to guess how many years of experience on this team, on the SolutionsX team, how many years of experience we bring to the table, what would you guess?
Well, look, I don't want to brag, but I have almost 3 years of experience in here. 200?
Cold.
Okay.
Low and cold.
350.
You're still low. You're getting warmer though.
All right. Give me a number. Give me a number.
500.
500 years, you said?
500 years of experience between everybody, whether it's in the ERP space or manufacturing space. How crazy is that? And then here's the best part. Then there's us two, 4 years, 3 years, and we're the ones hosting the podcast. Like what do we do? What's going on here? But
maybe we don't ask our first guests about that.
It's okay. It's good humor. But no, hey, look, you and I are both very lucky to be working for a company like SolutionsX and being a part of this team. So I just thought that was a crazy statistic. Had to share it. But as far as things that we're going to be talking about, we will be diving deep into the world of ERP, which is enterprise resource planning for someone who might be new, not knowing what that is. And as far as the product and technology we will be discussing, that's going to be the Infor Cloud Suite industrial product. And that's catered to an industry of SMB manufacturing. So we plan on bringing on guests every episode to talk about experiences and lessons learned, specifically in whatever their manufacturing space is or whatever their technology space is, and just hearing their experiences. And of course, we'll have questions for them, and I'm sure they'll provide great insight and answers to our questions. And then the whole point is for people to interact with us. So please, let us know if there's maybe a specific guest you want us to have on the podcast, and we'll get them on. If there's specific questions you want us to ask, or certain topics to talk about, we'll take that all into consideration and get that on here. And we do have a fun game that we will play at the end of every podcast. It's just going to be called our top 5. So every week it'll be a different topic of what we're picking for a top 5. And then we will put our answers and our selections out on our landing page for our listeners and people to vote on, Brandon. And we'll see who comes up with the best top 5 list. And a little spoiler alert, this week for our first episode, we're going to do top 5 fast food chains. We're going to
keep it healthy, keeping it.
So yeah, keep it healthy. Yeah, keep it healthy. So we're going to be playing that game at the end, and then we'll put that out for the listeners to vote on. So, all right, Brandon. Well, I'm ready to bring David in. What do you say we kick this thing off?
Yeah, man of the hour. Let's get him in here.
So let's get David in here. There he is.
Hey, good morning.
Our fearless leader, David Trout.
Fearless. You're funny.
Fearless leader.
Hey, and before we get started, I just want to make sure I understand. Last time I was at Jeff Ruby's, the service was really fast. Does that count? Can I put that on my top 5?
You know what? We'll let the committee decide that in a pinch. We'll have the committee think about that one.
All right.
Awesome. All right, David. Well, hey, thanks for making time. We really appreciate you being on here. We're very excited to talk to you. And the whole purpose of today's episode was to discuss the Infor Velocity Suite, which happens to be, like I said, something that's had a lot of buzz lately. It's creating a little bit of a stir in the Infor ecosystem. And I think the word's getting out there. It doesn't matter what ERP system you have, but just kind of talking about the certain functionalities inside the Velocity Suite. So before we get started, David, why don't you just introduce yourself real quick, give a 90-second elevator pitch of who you are.
Oh, man, I didn't know I was going to have to do that. I'd have had ChatGPT write something. So I'm David Trout. I'm the president and CEO here at SolutionsX. I started with SolutionsX. I was employee number 1 back when I first joined SolutionsX. And so before that, I was in manufacturing and really enjoyed my ERP implementation. So those of you that know about ERP implementations, it takes a very special kind of person to enjoy those. And so I actually decided to join the dark side and move over to ERP implementations. And so I joined SolutionsX, and it's been a fantastic ride ever since. We've now made it to the top of the ecosystem, the channel partner ecosystem, and for Cloud Suite Industrial, formerly known as Sightline. And it's been a wild ride. So fun to be here.
Awesome.
Was that 90 seconds? Did I go over?
No, I'll give you a few. You sign my checks. I'll let you have I'll let you have some leeway.
My system wasn't keeping time, so you're off the hook this time.
Off the hook.
All right, awesome.
Well, we appreciate being here, David. Looking forward to the conversation. So let's start at the very top. What is Velocity Suite, David?
So, well, the salesy, write it down answer is that it's a package of Infor solutions and services that makes process innovation easy and impactful. So what does that really mean? So what's process innovation? So one of the things that Infor has really started to lead the world in is the idea of innovating processes, whether that be through robotic process automation or the Infor document processor to scan documents and extract information from it, or any of the other things, Gen AI, machine learning, you name it. So anything that's coming out of the enterprise automation team at Infor, so they've taken a lot of that stuff and they've put it together into a package that they call Velocity Suite. Okay.
So Velocity Suite, once again, is made up of a few different things, correct?
Yeah, it is. So RPA, robotic process automation, Gen AI, I'm going to miss some. So IDP, Infor document processor, the machine learning piece, there's a value plus catalog of pre-built applications, pre-built processes to help with the automation of processes at a company. Probably missing something there.
Document processing,
process mining. Yeah, probably one of the best ones, right? So I left off one of the best ones. So yeah, process mining is a fantastic application that watches the processes that go through the ERP system from the users and compares it to the designed processes to see if users are actually following the process. So for manufacturing people, they might think of things like lean, if you will, like do the same thing the same way every time to make the process the most smooth and quick. It's kind of similar to that, where you design the process and then you measure the users against that process to see where they're going outside of the process, and maybe you find a hole or a gap in the process that needs to be addressed. So that's process mining, and that's part of the Velocity Suite as well.
David, who would you say Velocity Suite is primarily designed for, and what type of industry could benefit the most out of it?
Yeah, so organizations and business leaders who believe that value is created by adopting advanced technology, that's going to be the best fit, especially if they, when they frequently don't know where to start, they don't understand the technology landscape, or they don't have the talent or the skills within their organization to begin on themselves, then Velocity Suite is like perfect. It's, Infor has already decided all of the best pieces and parts to include so that you can immediately begin adopting advanced technologies into your business. And so what type of industries? I would say anybody that does any types of processing. So it's almost everyone, but here at SolutionsX, and because of the Cloud Suite Industrial product that leverages the Velocity Suite, we concentrate on manufacturing here.
Gotcha. I'll jump in here. So one of my concerns, and I remember going back to Sun when Kevin and Soma were very excited to speak on this. It's a lot of information. This is a lot. I remember sitting there eating my little fruit parfait and drinking my coffee, and they were over the moon at 8:30 a.m. to speak on this, and everybody's still waking up. And I go, all right, I've heard about Velocity Suite. Everybody's heard about Velocity Suite, and everybody's groaning. Everybody around the room is excited to hear about this, but they're not, because AI is a hot topic. All this stuff is a hot topic. And they threw up a statistic on that PowerPoint that I think it was $4 trillion, $3 or $4 trillion across all industries globally has been invested into artificial intelligence and similar products. And I think it was, somebody's going to quote me on this, hopefully, and tell me that I'm very incorrect, but something around 30 or $40 billion of revenue has been made off this globally. Yet again, terrible numbers, but just to put that in perspective. And that really, kind of stuck out to me. And, so I know this, big numbers. So a lot invested, not a lot made. And it seems like Infor has put a lot of time, money, and effort into Velocity Suite and is pushing this out and is really focused on just early user adoption. My biggest concern for being the customer success manager, is how are we going to get customers to adopt this technology? Because just hearing you guys talk about this is great information. I love this, and I'm not trying to be a skeptic or a critic or anything like that, but this is a lot of information. For some of these smaller manufacturers, it sounds awesome in theory, but how can this really be applicable to a smaller manufacturer? Where does this fit in?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, Brandon. And I think for any of our smaller customers that are listening, one of the things that we have to think about is, what does the automation bring to the table for me? Or what does the innovation bring to the table for me? And it's always going to be a savings. So that's what Velocity Suite was put together for. And smaller companies, they all have the same objections. Almost all of them have the same objections. They don't know where to start, or they don't have the people in house to be able to implement these advanced technology solutions. And so that's what Infor did for us. They actually put the Velocity Suite together to eliminate those barriers to process innovation. So the where to start, need to understand the technology landscape, not having the talent in-house, all of that stuff doesn't matter, because you have the Velocity Suite, which is that set of pieces of software and services that are put together to actually help to apply this innovation to the customer.
Gotcha. No, sounds really cool. And it's, one thing that I love about it is, and, kind of all the Infor products as well, is they don't stop updating them. It doesn't stop improving. And now you're throwing artificial intelligence in the mix to where it's going to learn from itself, and it's, all the data mining and everything. It's pulling from your own system. So it's just you're taking Infor's constant innovation and improvement, and then you're mining your own data, and they're marrying into each other. I mean, it's kind of, that excites me, because it's just going to be constant improvement. I mean, I think there's some, from the customer stories that we've seen, and, coming out of this, for the people that are actually using it, it is cool what we're seeing already.
Very cool.
It's, and it was also cool. I'll go back to Sun Conference again here. Speaking a little out of turn, sorry. Seeing the excitement from Kevin and Soma speaking up there on stage, just, I mean, a kid in a candy shop. It was, you could see the tangible, it got me excited. Normally you see a C-suite talk and you go, okay, they're going to give a presentation. And, if you're seeing this, Kevin and Soma, sorry, but you go, okay, it'll be another presentation. That's great. They're going to talk about something. It's, cool. Seeing the true, genuine excitement, it really got through to me. And that's what I'm trying to articulate here is, how can we bring that to the customers of, wow, this is different. This is something really special. That is just brand new out there. Not so much a question, just something I wanted to talk about. It's just,
well, that's okay. I'd like to add to that just a little bit, because there was an event after the Sightline Users Network conference that I'm not sure, Brandon, you got to be a part of. I don't remember. Were you at the partner event after?
Yes, sir.
The enablement. So what you also saw then was that Kevin and Soma's excitement about what they're bringing to the table for our customer base was not just hoopla, in front of the customers during the Sun conference, right? They came to the enablement, the partner enablement sessions that Selena puts on, and they were even more excited. Brought Rick Ryder up on stage too, and started talking about all of the really cool stuff that Velocity Suite brings to the table. So there's excitement, as you say, that starts at the very, very top at Infor and comes all the way down so that we can provide this technology to our customers.
It's just exciting times. I mean, all the talk of AI, I mean, ChatGPT has become pretty second nature in my life. And now seeing that brought to the ERP space and how, I mean, this is the future. We're living it. It's,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to actually make fun of your numbers and just say that a tick went on the clock. And so those numbers are outdated already and probably very low.
I'm sure.
So much to the world. You can't do anything without seeing AI around somewhere.
No,
for awesome. Sure. So what would you say what would you say the main problems are in manufacturing companies that a tool like the Velocity Suite can fix?
Well, we talked a little bit about that process mining piece. Yeah. But Velocity Suite was actually designed to get customers future ready and stay agile, adaptable, and ahead of their competition. So also to help customers realize value through achieving their organizational objectives, right? And we do that with some pre-built solutions to deliver those results. So what are some of those pre-built solutions? I might answer your question better, Rob. There's just as an example, I think the most commonly used example is an invoice processing automation, where the invoices can come into a customer. We'll say a vendor invoice come into a customer, right? So do the whole use case. So where we buy something, a customer buys something from a vendor, the vendor ships the something, we upload the packing slip from the vendor, when it arrives, and maybe also some inspection documents from the quality module get uploaded into Infor Document Management. We're actually utilizing that Infor document processor to scrape off the PO number, the vendor number, the item numbers, all of that information, and putting that into metadata on the parts. On the documents that are going into Infor Document Management. And then when the vendor sends the invoice into the customer via email, we have RPA, robotic process automation, watching the mailbox and finding invoices from vendors, and then taking those invoices, doing that same scraping and metadata stuff going on that we did on the packing slip, matching those up in a four-way match, seeing if there's any approvals needed, for things, and then creating the actual voucher inside of the ERP. And if it matches, with a choice, you can just have it automatically scheduled for payment within the terms, and nobody actually has to physically touch an invoice or anything. And all of that information is automatically tied together in the Infor Document Management system. So you have the history of that forever.
And that's just one little piece of the pie, right?
That's one. Yeah, that's one piece in the Value Plus catalog that comes with the Velocity Suite.
Yep. Yeah, very, very, very powerful stuff there. And then what would you say, out of all of Infor's offerings of solutions, how does Velocity Suite interact with all of them or all of Infor's offerings?
Yeah, so only Infor delivers a package of solutions and services through the Infor Velocity Suite that makes process innovation easy and impactful. So the Velocity Suite utilizes data from the ERP system and utilizes the ERP system's UI UX to present the user the completely seamless experience of Velocity Suite with ERP. So that only happens at Infor with the the single. It's all here, right? We're not going out and buying services from other people and doing that kind of stuff. It's Infor has provided the ERP, and so we have the UI, the UX of the ERP, and all of the innovation that comes with the Velocity Suite connected directly through that UI UX. So it's all very, very seamless.
Yeah, and that's always something we hear a lot of, right, David? When you and I would go out on sales calls and speak with companies, one of the things they always talk about is, well, is this all one solution? Is this all? Is it one throat to choke type thing?
Right.
When you start getting into okay, you have this software, but you need to go to this company to get a UI or an AI type tool, and then this company for some kind of document processing and management, and you just bring in all those third parties. It gets messy, it gets clunky, it gets expensive. It can get very expensive and take a long time to implement and configure and figure out. So yeah, I think I think Infor definitely has it. They're definitely leading the way right now when it comes to an all-in-one, under one roof solution.
Yeah, the only ones that have it. The only ones that have it.
Yep, only ones. So awesome, good stuff. Sorry, Brandon, I think you were going to go ahead and ask another question.
No, yeah, I had a question kind of surrounding Gen AI. Personally, I've been pretty underwhelmed by Gen AI. You go to a website and it says, "Hey, here's our chat bot," or here's whatever. Can I help you with something today? And you go, "Sure, yeah." Here's my question, and they spit you something totally unrelated, totally left field, and you go, "Can I?" Customer service representative, and you go, what is Infor doing that is not that, or something that's actually tangible, helpful? What is it that is really helpful to the customer that is not what we've seen in the past?
Sure. So a couple of things. First, chat bots that you were just kind of referring to were around long before we started leveraging Gen AI. They're a little different. So the first round of chat bots were, hey, here's a question and here's a scripted answer to that question. The second round of chatbots said we don't have to say exactly all of the same words. The chatbot was allowed to go look up synonyms and things like that, so you didn't have to, it wouldn't fail out. If you asked using the wrong word. That was round 2. Round 3, 4, or 5, wherever the heck we are now, is utilizing large language models and people putting together their own Gen AI scripted types of responses to that. So now you can use any words that you want, and it has the entirety of the internet and anything that they might have put together to be able to answer. So the rest of it, just going to, using ChatGPT as an example, in my experience, those that are underwhelmed by it haven't had the opportunity to work with someone to enhance the prompts. So what I mean by that is when you ask ChatGPT something, the way you ask it will have a lot to do with what kind of answer that you get back. So an example to that, some time ago, it was kind of a famous, in the tech world anyway, kind of a famous situation where somebody asked Gen AI to solve a fairly simple math problem. And you just ask it to do it, and and it's the how many apples, right? So Sandy has 6 apples. She gives 2 to Brandon. She gives 3 to Rob, and Rob gives 1 back. How many apples does Sandy have? Well, you told me Sandy has 5 apples, right? So it comes back with the answer is 5. It's like, no, you have to tell it there's math to do, right? And so if you prompt it properly, then you can actually prompt differently and get a better answer, right? So people who are using Gen AI and the large language models through something like a ChatGPT, they'll get really good responses if they ask it really good questions. So 2 things. One, the Gen AI that Infor is leveraging is just extremely powerful, and Infor knows how to use it, right? So it knows Infor knows how to prompt it. And most of its use is actually through the Velocity Suite, at least today. Most of its uses are in some of these value plus solutions that we have for business processes, kind of behind the scenes. It's doing its thing, but customers are also utilizing the Gen AI tool to create extended part descriptions or find related documents or create MDS sheets based on the components that are inside of the thing. So once you tie all of your ERP data and all of your documentation that you have and all of that stuff, you tie all of that into the Infor suite, then the Gen AI application has the ability to do nearly an unlimited number of things.
Okay, so this is for someone who's, yet again, not an ERP user, in a traditional sense or anything like that. This is worlds and worlds apart from the chatbots we've seen in the past.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, just because that was my first thought when I initially saw it at Sun. I keep going back to Sun. It's a great event.
No, it's most of your exposure, Brandon, to the application happens at Sun, right? Because you don't, it's not part of your day-to-day.
Sure. And here's my plug for Sun 2026. It's in Atlanta. If you'd like to go, stop by the SolutionsX booth. But no, thank you for answering that one. I guess kind of my last big question for you, David, is, we've heard about unlimited use in Velocity Suite once it's purchased.
Really cool.
What does that mean?
So it's a huge deal. Yeah, it's a huge deal. And I think, and actually Rick Ryder kind of said it might be crazy for us to do it, but Kevin had made the decision to do that. And what that means really, some of the technologies that are being leveraged to make use, that are being leveraged in the Velocity Suite, they make use of what's referred to as tokens to process information. You have to buy those tokens from the people that run the large language models and things like that. So every time you use Gen AI as an example, you are using up tokens. And that's why those of you that might have a free Chat GPT account or whatever, you get stopped. It's like, nope, you've asked all the questions you're allowed to ask. You only have this many tokens that we are giving you for free. And so Infor has decided that they're not going to limit that. They might get charged more money because our customers are using tokens. But Kevin has said, hey, I want our customers to be able to use the Velocity Suite components wherever and whenever you can to help your business. And we don't want to limit that by saying, hey, you're out of tokens. Right? So for now, it's all completely unlimited. I'd love to see it stay that way.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about with the user adoption. That's what Infor is focused about, is we want as many people using this as possible to really drive value out of it and, just see that, hey, this is awesome. Let's use this. This is great. And it's going to drive more value out of the core ERP itself. I don't know. I'm excited for it. It's just, the more I learn about it, the more I hear about it. I mean, Rob, we just did sales training on it, which me, I love my online training.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
But even going through that, it's exciting. I mean, it's no BS. It's crazy. This is not, Soma's not in here with, standing behind me. It is crazy. I'm learning about this. I'm going, this is the future. I mean, this is truly, as a kid watching sci-fi movies, being a nerd, and I'm going, holy cannoli, this is real. We're able to do stuff like this. And now
You said cannoli.
I said cannoli, look. From
Hungry now.
I love it. But we're living in this space now. We're able to utilize this software, and artificial intelligence, all this cool stuff. These are exciting times, and it only goes up from here. So, this is all
for sure.
Really cool stuff.
Brandon, I think your excitement, Rob, I'll give me 2 seconds here. I just want to go, I want to kind of coattail on Brandon's excitement there a little bit. So, we have been involved in the enterprise automation team's products from Infor for a long time now, before they put them together as the Velocity Suite and now come to market this way. As you mentioned Joey before. So for our listeners, Joey and Rob have actually sold components of the Velocity Suite 6 times now, I think. Some of the very first sales coming through there. And the reason that we're able to do that is because of the value that these components bring to our customer base. And, we are all about making sure that we bring value to the customer. That's how we keep them as customers forever. In fact, we want to keep them longer than that. So maybe even 5 ever. And so, because 5 ever is way longer than 4 ever, but
dad jokes are coming out.
Dad joke.
Dad
So,
jokes.
but they're grandpa jokes now. You see the white hair.
True. Very true.
But anyway, so we are very excited that Infor has these offerings for our customers. And Brandon, I think you have the ability to just blow your quote out of the water because you now have product to sell that's not just extra user licenses because somebody got a little bigger, right? So this is exciting times, 100% exciting times to see the value that the customers get out of implementing portions of the Velocity Suite or items from the Value Plus catalog. Just watching it and just say, yep, look at that. You can now repurpose somebody to do something of a higher value task, in your organization because we've got RPA taking care of it, this piece for you, And how boring is it to sit there and just deal with? Like just using the example that we had before, it's like, oh, here's another invoice from a vendor. Oh, let me go find the packing slip. Oh, let me make sure it matches. Oh my goodness. So let's just let the computer do that for you and go find something, of a lot more value to do for both you personally and the company.
You know what? You brought up a very good point. This is my last question, and then we'll wrap up. But job elimination / job recreation. So that's not something that we asked you about yet, but that's a concern for customers, prospects, everybody with AI. I'm getting my haircut over the weekend. I heard somebody in the 2 chairs over talking about AI. It's going to take our jobs. I'm not kidding. Totally. So I know that's going to be a concern. I don't think it's going to be as big of a concern here for that exact reason. And I'll let you speak on that here in a second, but I think it's going to take these smaller jobs, these time consuming tasks. And then it's going to take, Kevin from this department and say, Kevin, here you go. You're free to go work on these more value-adding tasks because you don't have to plug away. So, if you'll take a couple, a little bit of time to speak on that, if you don't mind. But
yeah, I think you just nailed it. You hit the hammer on the head, the nail on the hammer's head. However that goes, right? I think you hit it perfect because people who are doing those types of, and I'm going to call them menial, and I don't mean that to be degrading in any way, shape, or form, but they're tasks that have to happen. They're super important to the business, but they're not valuable to the business. And so we need the important task to get completed. And if we can have a computer complete that important task for us, we can now leverage the human person who was doing that before to actually provide even more value to the organization. So I wouldn't be afraid of losing my job to AI. I would just make sure that I was ready to take on the new challenges that my bosses or organization or even your own self, even if you get stuff that gets taken off your own plate, because you're leveraging AI agents or something like that, and say, just be ready for the next step, the next level of what you can bring to the table. So it's not a job elimination thing. It's a innovation and make things go faster type of thing. Because one of the probably hardest things to measure is the return on investment for these things. And I would say the reason I'm saying that it's hard to measure the return on investment, we can do the on top of the paper return. We can say, hey, I've got 2 people processing these invoices today. So I've got, 80 hours a week times this much amount that it costs and blah, blah, blah. Right. And now I can do that with a third of the labor. Right. So now I only need one of those people to work half of their time doing that. There you go. Boom. There's the ROI. Dude, you're not even close to being done on the ROI because that person that is no longer doing that in the half of the time that the other person has, they're now doing some other value add task that has moved your organization forward faster than it would have moved forward before. So what's that worth? A lot, and probably a lot more than the person and a half that you saved and by letting the robot do the work, right? So as long as companies, when they embrace these innovations and they get the benefit of speed and accuracy, by the way, we didn't mention accuracy. The computer reads those are, and they don't even wear glasses, Brandon, at you there a little bit, right? All right. So, so that everything is accurate and it's done much more quickly. And as long as you are using that person's free time now, the time you just freed up for something that's even better, you can't even measure how much better your organization is for that. So it's as you said, Brandon, very exciting times. Very exciting times.
Yeah, and I'll just make one quick comment on the excitement part. You could speak to, David spoke to you, Brandon, having this in your arsenal to sell to customers. It is very exciting to talk to companies just cold about this. When we go out on sales calls, Joey and I, and we start talking about some of these tools in this Velocity Suite, a lot of the feedback that we hear and get back is, wow, nope, you're the only person talking about this. Like, this is huge. What you just said about, I'll just use process mining, for example, the fact that I can now have a tool document our processes, which frankly, we have no idea what they are. It's probably on a spreadsheet somewhere or written down on a napkin from Chipotle somewhere. But the fact that you guys have these tools is a game changer, and it gets people very, very excited. So, yeah, that was a great conversation, David. Thank you so much for joining us and spreading your knowledge. Do you want to play the top 5 game? Do you want to play?
No, I'll leave that to others to do that. Right. But I will comment that while it has been a year and a half in the making, I finally got up off my rear end and let these boys go do their thing. So, listeners, pay them back with some comments, some claps, maybe something like that. But I appreciate all of the work that you and the production team from the marketing department are putting into this. So thank you guys for doing it for us. And it was really a pleasure talking with you about this today.
Yeah, awesome. And thanks for giving us the platform to do it. We really appreciate it. So,
yep. Let's make it a great quarter.
That's the game plan.
All right, guys.
Finish strong. All right, awesome. Well, that was awesome. All right, Brandon.
Now to the real talk. All right.
That's right. We're gonna get to the real stuff now. So
are we starting at number 1 or we start at number 5?
So it doesn't matter. So here, I'll explain the rules real quick. So what we're going to do is, for our listeners out there, we are going to just name our top 5. It doesn't have to be like your number 1 or your number 5. It's just the 5 that you say, I can't live without. I can't live without these 5 places. Okay. So this episode's topic, this episode's topic is going to be fast food chains, right? So let's do a rock, paper, scissors over the screen and see who goes first. All right, okay. Rochambeau. Ready? Paper, scissors, shoot. All right.
Lift it up. I can't see.
I had scissors. I had scissors. Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right, you caught me. All right. So you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Okay, you're going first. So we're just going to do our top 5, and at the end, like I said, we'll post these on our landing page. Listeners can go out there, vote on them. We'll have some fun with it. We'll crack jokes, bust chops on future episodes. But all right, so go ahead, and I'll write them down, and then we'll recap at the end. So, what do you got as number 1?
You're not gonna even know about this because you live in Jersey, you're out here doing your thing, whatever. Number 1, Culver's. We got the butter burgers. We got the cheese curds. We got those chocolate malts, my man.
Last time I was in Florida, I indulged in a Culver's. Almost changed my life. It really did. It almost changed my life.
Look, it's a Wisconsin chain. You got those Wisconsin cheese curds. I mean, it's a strong number 1 for me.
That's a good first pick. Good first pick. I'm gonna go. If David was here, he would already know what I'm gonna say. But Chipotle. It's Chipotle for me.
I knew it. You even brought up a Chipotle napkin like 2 minutes ago.
That was a hint on where I was going. First pick.
That was subconscious. You
I might go there for lunch today. I don't even know. I might go there for lunch. All right. What do you got number 2?
We're coming in on the chicken side of the house. So I hit burgers. Coming in, Chick-fil-A. It's the Lord's chicken. All right. I don't want to get religious on this podcast.
Listen,
on Sundays, but it's the Lord's chicken. Doesn't matter what you're getting. That spicy chicken sandwich, those nuggets, brother. It's all good. The waffle fries, the customer service.
Look, customer service alone has it top of the list.
I interact with customers daily, and I try to channel my inner Chick-fil-A every day. I go, what can I do? What can I do to make Chick-fil-A proud today?
Yeah, it's a great spot to be. All right, number 2 for me, I'm gonna go with give me Wendy's. I'm gonna go with a Wendy's because man, something about Wendy's. Hear me out on this.
Okay.
The nuggets, right? Them nuggets and the fries. You dip them in a little chocolate frosty.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh, you want to talk about life changing stuff?
I hear you on that.
Right there.
The one
If you
thing.
haven't tried that yet? Get
Oh
after
yeah.
it.
I will say, Wendy's and I have a terrible history. They never get my order right. They see me hitting that drive-through and they go, "Brandon's here," and they go,
Get
and
this.
they mess up my order every time. I'm not ordering anything crazy, but they do it every time. But I love Wendy's, and I'll go back.
He ordered a Dave's double, and they gave him a 10-piece nugget. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But no, that's a good one. I'm gonna throw it back. Classic number 3,
okay.
McDonald's.
Can't go wrong.
The fries. You can't.
Yep.
It's McDonald's is always there for you.
So
My
wife has this thing where she anytime she may have indulged in too many alcoholic beverages or adult beverages, let's call it, her next morning routine is she likes to call it a dirty fountain soda and a small fry from McDonald's. That's her go-to order from McDonald's. Okay, good. That's a good pick. All right, number 3 for me, I'm going with I was going to say one. I'm going to save it. Maybe I can get it at the end. I'm going to go Five Guys.
Five Guys is good.
Expensive. I'm going to go Five Guys. Yeah.
Expensive.
I'm going to go Five Guys. Yeah, that's my number 3 pick.
I mean, look, Five Guys is delicious. And you know what? Their fries, that's the thing. You order a large fry and they go, "Are you sure about that?"
And the peanuts?
Yeah, the peanuts are great.
Peanuts, you throw them on the floor. It's awesome.
I think the last time I was at Five Guys, my wife was like, "Yeah, I'll take a large fry," and they were like, "No, you don't want that. You don't want that." She was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Have you not been here before?"
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's a good one. I'm switching it up for number 4, Dunkin' Donuts.
Double D?
Double D, dude.
Dunkin'?
Well, yet again, grew up in Connecticut. I'm a New England man. Dunkin' Donuts always hold a special place in my heart.
That is a good spot. It's a really good spot.
I mean, look, they figured out breakfast. They figured out the donuts. Coffee's always exactly what I want.
Yep. Yep. Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to go back to another famous burger joint for my number 4. I'm gonna do an In-N-Out. In-N-Out.
Overrated.
You think so?
I think so. I've had it a handful of times. I've tried every time I go in there. I try to freshen it. I go, don't reset yourself and go in there with a fresh attitude. They're great. They're delicious.
Yeah,
there's better stuff out there. Look, I think it's a fair number 4.
I think it's a good spot. Number 4. I think it's a good spot.
I'm coming in.
What do you got for your 5?
And if some of my Army buddies ever got a hold of this podcast, I'd probably get some flack for not putting it higher. Taco Bell. Taco Bell has never. Taco Bell's been there. They've raised their prices in the last few years, but they have always been there for me. When I was in the Army and I was stationed in Alaska, there was a Taco Bell right by our barracks, and we used to go there nonstop, and you could just crush tacos after some adult beverages,
Yeah.
And I used to crush 12 of those tacos by myself, and I'm just saying, it's great. And they're maybe not the world's best tacos, but they're exactly what you think they are.
Okay.
Look, this guy loves tacos.
Yeah, respect. I can respect Taco Bell.
Look who just woke up from his nap at the mention of Taco Bell.
UConn. Yep, he's ready to go. Taco Bell. That's funny. All right. And for my number 5, I'm going to go a little bit of a dessert option, right? Because who doesn't like a dessert option? Give me Krispy Kreme. Number 5. Krispy Kreme. Get a little glaze. When that light's on, you get the free one. Oof, just hits.
They do,
It's
yeah.
different.
A fresh Krispy Kreme
Fresh,
is
yeah.
that is something special.
All right, so let's run this back. So I got Chipotle, Wendy's, Five Guys, In-N-Out, Krispy Kreme. Brandon, you got Culver's, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, and Taco Bell. So we will put that on the landing page. Let some folks vote on which list they think's better. Two pretty good lists there. So I'm kind of interested to see how that pans out.
Yeah.
But man, awesome first episode, huh?
Yeah, I'd like to go on record. We don't eat out very much, so I do all the cooking in my house. We eat very healthy. So 2 young kids, I don't feed them fast food every day. If
my kids don't.
If Bobby Kennedy's listening, look, man, I feed my kids a lot of veggies and fruit.
You're a Maha person. Make America healthy again. Same thing in our household. We don't. Chick-fil-A might be the only fast food thing our kids get. They don't. They like their homemade stuff. They enjoy it. So.
No, yeah, it was a good podcast. So it's good. It's nice to finally be here in the seat. We're out here talking. Hopefully, the viewers got something out of this.
Sure. We're talking.
I hate to ask for any sort of review or feedback, but truly, if anybody's listening to this, and we'd love some critiques, maybe anything positive or negative.
We'll take it all. Yep.
Because if not, we're just going to keep doing exactly what we're doing it. And that's fine, because Rob and I could sit here and talk all day. You're giving us an excuse to BS for an hour. We'll take it.
We'll take it. Yeah.
This is sanctioned BSing from our boss. So it sounds great to me.
Yep. That's exactly right.
But no, Rob, thanks, man.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the next. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to the next one. We have all kinds of guests lined up, and we're very much looking forward to sharing the wealth. But that wraps up the first episode of Boots on the Ground podcast. We want to thank everyone for joining as we explored the world of Infor and some of the awesome tools driving a much smarter manufacturing world. So we're very much looking forward to continuing that trend. So stay connected, stay informed. We will see you guys on the next episode. Until next time, Brandon.
Hey, have a good one, brother.
See you, buddy.